Hey everyone, this is Jane with Barlow Herbal, and happy Sunday, June 30th of 2024. Now, if you're like me, the first 6 months of this year has felt like a bit of a roller coaster ride, not just with world events and different energies, but just emotionally, sometimes physically, the things that we're feeling because of the energies. And I believe that the second half of the year, which starts tomorrow, if you're watching this on the last day of June, is going to be an exponentially bigger ride than what we've been on. So I had a really good week. It was full of busy stuff, and I actually only had one day this week when I could sit down with my journal and write out my thoughts. But it was good. It came in powerfully. It's 2 short pages. I have a feeling that this little message today is going to be much shorter than what I've been putting out lately. Feels like I've had a whole ton to say and just expand on. Besides, what I've realized is that I tend to give a lot more details in the stories that I tell than are probably necessary, right? I have a sister who watches my videos, and she gives me a gentle joking, like a little bit of ribbing, like all the details I give. That's just the way I share. So I have this great message that came in. The very first thing was this sentence: be wise with the new energies. You know, I think it's easy to not just be on the roller coaster, but to realize that there's going to be a lot of distractions and that we need to stay grounded and centered. And I'm a full-on Taurus, I'm a fixed earth sign, and my Taurus is a Taurus sun and a Taurus moon. And I even bring that up because I know a lot of people might think that astrology is a little bit woo-woo, but here's the thing. Astrology is actually like a language. And I heard this from a very famous UK astrologist that I've been following for a long time. I don't watch all of her stuff, but I dip into her stuff every once in a while. Her name is Pam Gregory, and many of you are probably familiar with her. And I heard her describe this astrology so perfectly as it's not something woo-woo at all. It's actually like a language. And she compared it to something like French. You can't say, oh, French is woo-woo. It just is a language. It's French. And if you learn how to speak French, you can communicate with the people who speak French also. But the thing with astrology is that it's actually guidance. And so for me, I've just kind of dipped lightly into astrology a little bit. I definitely know I'm a Taurus, some of the things that it's pointing to, but it depends on when you were born, the time of day you were born, not just the day you were born, but the exact time of the day. So it's a really fascinating thing to watch. But what I've noticed is that it's important for me to remember that one of my superpowers is the ability to stay grounded. And I think that when these new energies that are coming at us faster than we're used to, we can be a little bit unwise with them. So I think that this is a really powerful message, is to be wise with the new energies. Then I wrote this: pay attention to the small details because life is speeding up. And I really believe that if you're in tune and you're aware, even if your life is, say you're in retirement, say you have a really calm, settled life, I believe that if you're aware and in tune, you can still feel these energies, and you can feel the world changing. And the world is changing in such a beautiful way. I really am so grateful that the last 4 years are over. And all the growth that I've had, the learning I've had, all the things that have happened. Of course, there's things in hindsight I would go back and I would do differently, and I would say different things, but that's all part of the growing process and the learning process, right? There's a lot of angst I caused myself, a lot of overthinking, and a lot of things that I didn't need to be focusing on. I have realized that I'm a really emotional person, and sometimes I need to step myself out of that and look at it, like I said last week, with a little more stoicism, a little bit more indifference, if you will, because it is what it is. Things that happen are what they are, regardless of what I think about it, because I can think anything I want about it, and it doesn't change the way it is. So pay attention to the small details because life is speeding up. I think that's really important. To me, one of the small details is taking care of our physical body. We need to, I think, be lighter in our body. And I think that this can go along with, what do we feed ourselves? Are we feeding ourselves fruits and vegetables? And I think more plant-based foods are going to be more supportive of dealing with these high energies that are coming at us so fast. Heavy meals and lots of animal products and animal foods, I think, keep us a little bit more dense. And this is no judgment on what people eat, but just from my own perspective, I feel so much better in my physical body when I eat light, not just in the amounts, but if I eat more plant-based. And I think that these times with these high energies are requiring us to take a second look at this detail. Might seem like a small detail, but if we feed ourselves organic, whole foods, more plant-based, and really stay away from the processed food, the junk foods, the sugars, and a lot of heavy meat products. Because here's what I think about consuming animal products, is that when you have chickens, beef, even pigs that live these really stressful, anxiety-ridden lives where they're not really living a natural life, you absorb all the anxiety and the stress that these animals go through, besides all the antibiotics and all the hormones that are injected. And I think that if we are going to get through these energetic shifting times that are so prevalent, that we really need to pay attention to what we are consuming. What we're consuming, not just with food, but pure, clean water. To me, that's really important. So then I wrote this: do all the things you need to do and then release yourself. Do all the things and then let your mind relax. Let your mind be at peace. And a lot of these things, like when I write these things, I'm writing them for myself because my mind goes like a million miles an hour on most days, most of the time, from when I'm awake until when I go to bed. And I try to be really strategic about when I go to bed, what I allow into my awareness. I do my best to go out on a walk. Earlier this week, I went out for an evening bike ride with a friend. And then as soon as I was done, I took a shower and I went to bed. So it was like it got dark just as we were pulling in after our bike ride. So I'm being strategic about being in nature and not just sitting in front of my computer or sitting in front. The TV now is almost a non-entity for me. I am not interested. Movies hold no allure, and this is just me personally. And like, again, I said, no judgment about any of this. So do all the things you need to do and then release yourself. Keep your eyes focused on what's coming, not on what you've lost. This I think is really beautiful. So I think about, you think about what we lost. We lost what we considered maybe a normal way of life. And like I keep saying, we're never going to go back to that. And we should all be grateful. We should all be grateful that we've come out the other side, and we don't want to go back to sleep. We don't want to go back to sleep. So we need to focus and keep our eyes open for what's coming, because this is looking forward. We need to prepare our present self every day, be present, because it's going to affect our future self. Make room for the new and keep your energies open. One of the things that I think is really important in this is the creativity. At this point, with these frequencies and these energies, I am telling you from personal experience, this is the best time to bring your creative energies and the gifts that you have. This is the best time to bring them out. The world is so open and hungry for new innovations, new creativity, new art, new music, new love, everything. Like, the energies are so perfect for creation. I've got a couple of projects. I'm doing one special project I'm doing with some new friends that I'm in the middle of researching, this beautiful, creative new business that we're going to do together. And it's just filling me with so much joy. And this is the best time to be creative because there's so much information coming in that we can take advantage of. And I hope that you are one of those people who sees it and gets enthusiastic about it, right? So make room for the new and keep your energies open. The universe will give you clues, dreams, signs, and even synchronicities. So be open. Be open to the signs that are coming your way, because if you get an idea, this is the best part about journaling, guys. I have gotten some of my best creative business ideas, art ideas, even ideas of communication with others while I've been sitting journaling. And the cool thing is when you write these things down, you can go back to it and you can go, oh yeah. And here's the thing, if you get an idea for something new and creative and you don't act on it, eventually that idea is going to be given to someone else, because these things need to come into the world, right? So move with grace and confidence no matter what happens. I think that we're in for a bumpy ride a little bit. And I think if we realize that there's going to be some tough stuff, but we don't let ourselves get discouraged about it and we just go with the flow. If you're think about being on a river, a fast moving river, and along the way, as it goes around the turns, there might be logs, there might be rocks, there might be obstacles. And maybe if you're just going with the flow, you might bump into some of those. Just go with the flow. There's no reason to get worked up and try to fight it. It really doesn't serve you. And I think that we can be proactive and take action on things, but I'm talking about, for the most part, going with the flow. Move with grace and confidence no matter what happens. Stay in a place of grace. And those energies will stay out in the world without you reaching a place of anxiety or fear or frustration. No one needs, for those of us who are aware and awakened, no one needs those energies to go out, right? We now know how to deal with this energy, and we need to learn to turn hurt into beauty, right? And then I wrote after that, love, just love. Love, love, love. Okay, so we need to look to the heavens. I'm a cloud lover, and I am lucky enough to live in a place where there's tons of mountains. There's, Salt Lake Valley is super easy to know northwest, east, and south, because there's a beautiful mountain range to the east, and there's a beautiful mountain range to the west. It's the Wasatch and the Oquirrh. And so because it's so easy to orient where we are, we can easily see north and south as well. And to me, the sunsets that we see, the sun rises over the mountains, we need to look to the heavens and don't be distracted. Remember why we're here, right? And then here's what came in right after that. All that glitters is not gold. So we need to be careful not to be distracted. That's what I wrote right after, but don't be distracted, okay? All that glitters is not gold. This is a really important time to stay tuned into your intuition. Use your intuition to take you where you want to go. This piece of us, intuitively, our third eye, our gut feeling, what we know in our heart, what we feel, we get a feeling for something, whether it's good, bad, indifferent. If we get an intuitive feeling that something is not right for us, it might be something that's perfect and right for someone else. But if we get that intuitive feeling, pay attention to that. This is a good time to stay in discernment, because all that glitters is not gold. You might be distracted by something, a get rich quick scheme. These things are still out there, and they might be out there in full force a little more than they usually are. So use your intuition to take you where you want to go. And then be at peace, because freedom is yours. We are born sovereign, free people. Someone might actually put us in jail or enslave us in debt. We might enslave ourselves in debt. But whatever all that looks like, at the end of the day, it's like Viktor Frankl in Man's Search for Meaning. He is in a concentration camp, a real one. This is a beautiful story. It's full of power and the human spirit for optimism. And at the end of the day, he is still a free man. And that's an interesting concept to wrap your head around. So be at peace. Freedom is yours. You hold a lot of powerful energy, and when you hold it back, you don't feel good. So don't hold back. You know, I'm writing this for myself. This is full on. You hold a lot of powerful energy, and when you hold it back, you don't feel good. I think this is true for all of us. We all hold a lot of powerful energy. And when we are feeling resentful at someone, or if we don't like a situation and we hold back, I'm not saying don't remove yourself from certain people or certain situations, because yes, that's a good idea. But little grudges, let them go fast, because you're holding a beautiful energetic piece of yourself back. And the world not only needs it, but the world is just waiting for you to put those energies out there. So you hold a lot of powerful energy, and when you hold it back, you don't feel good. So don't hold back. You are no longer bound by the material realm. Now, this, you are no longer bound by the material realm. I'm at a place in my life where, and I've said this before, I love my nice home. I love that I have a warm, cozy bed and that I have nice things. But I've reached a point where I've really been not only decluttering and getting rid of things and donating things, partly because I think when you reach this age, you just realize that life is better when it's simpler, and you really stop collecting things. You know, I love to declutter. In fact, what's interesting is I have a couple of sisters. I have a lot of sisters, and we're all kind of around the same age. 60s and 50s. I have one sister who's in her mid 40s, but the rest of us are 50s and 60s. And all of us have really started releasing material things from our physical reality, because it lightens us. It lightens the load, the energies. You know, I have a sister who even got rid of all of her photographs. She scanned everything, so she has everything digitized. And she even got rid of the hard copies of her wedding photographs. And I'm not saying everybody has to do that. I haven't done that either. But this to her was like, if I wanted to look at them, I'll just put the drive in and I'll look at my wedding photos. Because for her, it was easier and less clutter to have it on a zip drive. And she's got 3 or 4 backups, because those are all her photos from when her kids were growing up and all the memories and all the stuff. So I think that we are no longer held hostage by the material realm. Once we reach a certain state of being, we realize the things that are important. And so then I wrote one more thing. The only reason you're not living the life you want is because you, day by day, keep feeding the life that you don't want. You know, that was kind of a little separate at the end as I was writing this, and then I was kind of sitting absorbing the thoughts that came along with it. I thought about the things that I still want to accomplish, and for me it's mostly things that I want to accomplish, things I want to do, things I want to experience, and creativity that I want to bring to the world. So after I was thinking that, I wrote, the only reason you're not living the life you want to live is because you, day by day, keep feeding the life that you don't want. So for me, and this is not a slam on any level at myself when I wrote that, because there are things that I still want to experience, but I'm stubborn, and I will be like, well, because you did this, I'm not going to do that. And yeah, so this is a learning, growing process for me too. The whole time, the whole journey, the whole way. So I think the main message here is to be very wise with these new energies. Be discerning. And it's it's going to be an interesting second half of 2024. I'll be tuning in and checking in every single week like I usually do. I made a commitment, and it's been a fun commitment. It's not something that I would say I regret on any level, or it's been a hassle, or it's a pain. Sometimes I'll go back and I'll watch one of my other videos and I'll be like, oh, wow, that actually, I really needed to hear that today. You know, I think that there's a very selfish reason for me coming on and sharing some of these thoughts with you. It helps solidify them. And if I can, you know, even impact one of your lives in a positive, beautiful way, mission accomplished, right? So I hope that you have a beautiful Sunday, rest of your Sunday, the last day of June, if you're watching this on Sunday. And if you're watching this, whatever day you were supposed to find it and watch it, I hope that your day is brilliant and beautiful as well. So thanks for tuning in, guys. It's always awesome to come on here and just talk to the camera because I can see and feel your energies as I'm doing this. So thanks for being here week after week. I really appreciate you guys, and we will see you next time.